Hi, Rod Kane. I'm here today to talk to you about my favorite ancient medieval battle game, Triumph. So, Triumph, produced by the Washington Grand Company, it's been available as a PDF on Wargame Vault, and it's available as a hardcover game. If you're watching this video, hopefully you're a little bit familiar with it. But today, what I want to talk about is a new product that we've come out with for Triumph. And that is this booklet right here, which is available on Wargame Vault as a PDF. It's called Four Famous Battles from History. And Four Famous Battles from History is a book that I created from my convention games that I've been running over the last probably 5 or more years using Triumph. So I put these games together as convention-based games designed to be teachable for new players to play, also exciting for experienced players to play. And they're four of the battles from history that I chose because I really like the battles. I have the armies. I've collected these figures over the years, and I wanted to put together these larger Grand Triumph battles in 28 millimeter. So the battles that are covered in the book are Marathon, Hydaspes, Hastings, and Hattin. And in the booklet, you'll get the orders of battle, but you'll also get, besides the orders of battle, you'll get a map of the terrain, as well as a layout for how to deploy the forces for the Triumph army. So this is designed to be a triple-sized Triumph army on each side. It's designed for 2 to 6 players. For a convention, I like to play it with 6 players, each player taking approximately a 48-point plus or minus command, and basically playing out what we use for the Grand Triumph rules for demoralized commands and army breakpoint. But it's essentially Triumph in this large scale, and it recreates these 4 battles from history. The other reason that I like these battles is they're interesting battles, but they also are interesting in that they showcase some very different army matchups. So, for example, in Marathon, classical Greece, you have the heavy hoplites versus the lighter equipped but bow-armed archers and pavis of the Persian army. So with the Persian army, you have a lot of missile fire, but not as heavy a punch in close combat. The hoplites don't have any missile fire, but they have a lot heavier punch. So this makes for a very interesting matchup. The two armies are very asymmetrical, but we found that either side can win the battle, and it's quite an interesting fight. When you get to Hydaspes, you feature the high-quality troops of Alexander the Great's armies, the pike, the knights, the elite light cavalry, versus a lot of horde, bow levy, low-quality Indian troops. Of course, there's a lot more of them, but then they also have the hitting power of the elephants and the chariots, which makes for a very interesting battle. So this also makes for a very, very fun scenario, very fun matchup with 2 very different armies. Hastings. Hastings, you've got the combined arms of William's army with his knights for the heavy punching power, but they're outnumbered by the heavy foot of the Saxon army. William has a few more tools in his toolbox. He's got some skirmishers, he's got knights, he's got heavy and elite foot, some javelin cavalry. The Saxons have very few tools in their toolbox, mostly heavy and elite foot, but they're in a very strong defensive position on a hill, so it makes for a very interesting pickle for the Normans to try and break the Saxon line, break up their line, and draw them off the hill, and that's a very fun scenario as well. And then the last battle in the book, which is Hattin, Crusaders versus the light horse armies of Saladin. So this one's a very interesting scenario. This is actually what I would call probably the advanced battle in the rule book because it's a very non-standard deployment. In Hattin, we start at the morning of kind of the second day after the encampment. The Crusaders are trying to move in column. They're in their box formation. They're completely surrounded by the light horse of Saladin. And their goal is to break out of this entrapment. A very interesting battle. Definitely not a sure thing for either side because while the light horse do encircle the Crusaders, they have the advantage of that position. They also have command control problems, and they can get into trouble if they're not careful with how they intermix with the heavier hitters in the Crusader force. So, 4 exciting battles. I think you'd find it a lot of fun to play them out. It's of course, with all Triumph games, it's scale agnostic, so you can play this in 15 millimeter, you can play it 28 millimeter, or whatever scale you have, as long as you meet the Triumph basing standards. Your orders of battle are in here, your maps, and then also you can get a download of the maps in blank format with no comments or troops on them, in case you wanted to print the maps out and actually use them directly on the battlefield for smaller scale battles. So 4 famous battles from history. You can pick this up at Wargame Vault. My name is Rod Kane. Once again, you're watching a video about the game Triumph. I hope you enjoyed it, and thanks for watching.